All right, look live, Jarvis. It's playtime.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald Ray here, your boy with a cornbread accent. Welcome you to this week's Wrestling Gold Friday night. Yes, I screwed up my own little intro. But yes, today is Friday. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for Wrestling Gold Friday night, where we talk about the glory days of professional wrestling back when wrestling was wrestling and wrestling was real. So, got a lot to get to today. Talk about Dennis Condrey. Going to start off with a 10 bell salute to him. Going to today in wrestling history. Then our watch along is AWA from 1985. So let's get this thing going. Alrighty. Yes, rest in peace, Dennis Condrey. Dennis Condrey was born on February 1st, 1950, in Florence, Alabama, according to the internet right here. Now let's get to my notes. In 1973, he made his debut after being trained by Joe Turner. Sorry, I couldn't find no pictures of him. Um, but started wrestling for Nick Gulas and the NWA Mid American promotion. Around mid 1975, he would start getting pushed as a tag team wrestler, teaming up with Phil Hickerson, forming the team of the Bicentennial Kings. The 1976, of course, was the bicentennial year, so uh, that's the guess that's how they came up with the name. Very good tag team. Phil Hickson, on his own, was, despite his size and everything, even when I started watching wrestling and seeing him on TV, it was like, and watching it now, going back and watching it now from the time when I started watching wrestling. Uh, Hold on a second, let me. Okay, I am. So by the time I started watching wrestling, he was definitely um, almost retired, semi-retired. He did do a stint as PY High, but even at that time, the dude can move in the ring. But yeah, him and Dennis made a pretty good tag team. I've seen old videos of them teaming together. They were a formal tag team, um, and they were managed by Kangaroo Al Costello. As a tag team, they've held many championships between Nick Gulas Mid American, Jerry Jarrett's promotion, and the Southeastern promotion ran by the Fullers. If I can. I had notes all over the place, folks. That's how I roll. So, yeah, they were NWA Southern Tag Team Champions 5 times, Mid American Tag Team Champions 1 time. Also part of the 6-man tag team championship too, with Al Green, and, as well as 5-time NWA United States Tag Team Champions. Of course, this was all just Mid-American promotion. Um, let's see here. As far as the Southeastern promotion, there was Southeastern Tag Team Champions, 3 times uh, in that promotion, ran by the Fullers. Let's see. Oops. And I don't see. Okay, I guess it must have been mostly. I guess when. Come on. Well, the Southern Tag Team. Yeah, it was Mid America and Continental. Okay, that's where I got myself confused. So between it being Mid American promotion and Continental Wrestling Association, 5 times tag team champions there. But by 19 towards late 79, uh, he started teaming with Dr. D. David Schultz. Didn't see them. I haven't really seen too many videos of them as tag team, but kind of heard that was tag team. But wasn't a long tag team reign, from what I can gather. Um, and they would go on to win the Southeastern Tag Team Championship and eventually the Continental Wrestling Association NWA Southern Tag Team Championships as well. In 1980, he formed another major tag team called the Midnight Express. Yes, when they say they were the original Midnight Express, yes, they were the original Midnight Express. Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose. In 1981, they brought in Norville Austin to make themselves pretty much a stable. They actually did the Freebird rule at the time, where there was 3 of them, but at any time it'll be two. Any 2 of the 3 would be able to defend a tag team championship in the Southeastern promotion, and I believe they were teaming up in Memphis as well. And this tag team would stay around till about December 1983, or excuse me, or in 1983, because in 1983, of course, this story is told many a times. I've just recently watched a Bill Watts interview that told this story, so I'll try and shorten it up. Basically, Watts' territory, even Watts said it, was on his ass. So he called Jerry Jarrett, hey, would you watch some TV and tell me what I'm missing here? They looked at it, said, hey, let's do a talent exchange. Part of that talent exchange was Ricky and Robert. Rock and Roll Express was already a tag team. Dennis was a single, Bobby was single, and as Jim Cornette would say, Jim Cornette was managing whoever Jimmy Hart wouldn't manage or didn't have time to manage. So brought them in, put Bobby and Dennis together, and they would form the Midnight Express. Jim Cornette's interview said, "Hey, we got to think of a tag team name for you guys." Dennis said, "Well, Randy Rose and Norville Austin, Randy Rose and Norville Austin call ourselves the Midnight Express." Bill Watts like, "Hey, perfect, let's go with it," because Midnight Express, Rock and Roll Express, and they were pretty much married to each other for many years, from at least 1983 when they both went to Mid South. They would exchange the Mid South tag team titles a few times. Around 84, early 85 ish, they would go into World Class and feud with the Fantastics, which did pretty good. They did. What was I going to say there? They really wanted to go to Crockett, so basically they spent too much time in World Class. because World Class Time is basically all about the Von Erichs and all that good stuff. So, and they never did get in a feud with the Von Erichs. So, and they were like, okay, let's go on because they were already getting like calls from Crockett saying, hey, I want y'all, Crockett and Dusty say, I want y'all here. Let's spread this feud to the Mid Atlantic region, the Jim Crockett promotion. So, whoops, I forgot what year. So late '85 through '87, Dennis and Bobby uh, worked for Jim Crockett Promotions. Again, feuding with the Rock and Roll Express. Exchanged the NWA World Tag Team Championship between the two one time. Um, Oops. There we go. That's when they won the NWA World Tag Team Championship. Rock and Roll Express, of course, were winning back. During, of course, when they were champions, they would actually have a brief feud with America's team. That was Man MTA and Dusty Rhodes. But Dusty and Man never could win those tag team titles. Actually, at one time, Dusty and Magnum put the hoods on and called themselves the James Gang or the James Boys for a brief time. And and one of the big like heavy angles they did one time, Jim Cornette had hit Baby Doll in the stomach with a tennis racket. That got some major heat. They would also feud with the Road Warriors, and this would accumulate in a match in 1986, Starrcade '86, Nine of the Skywalkers, where they had to wrestle the Road Warriors in a scaffold match. Uh, that, of course, they lost that match, and poor Jim Cornette blew out both his knees because Big Bo Rogers forgot to catch him. However, in early 1987, for whatever reason, he left overnight, giving no notice to Cornette, Eaton, or the NWA. Dusty, Jim Crockett, nobody knew. He just disappeared. Wound up leaving the company. I think, if I remember correctly, I did see a shoot interview with Dennis Condrey and Bobby Eaton, and Dennis said I think he has some family problems, and basically trying to save his marriage, I guess, and with his wife and everything. So I think he was trying to, if I remember correctly, that's what he said. Don't quote me on it. I'm trying to go off memory on that one, but I believe that's what he said. But uh, really, when anybody else talks about it, everybody is like, "Hey, nobody knows. Nobody knows why he left." Um, even even watching the shoot interview with Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane, uh, Feinstein asked, you know, Bobby's like, "Hey, do you know why Dennis left?" And he's like, "Don't know why. Nobody knew why." But Dennis Country would turn back up and reform the original Midnight Express with Randy Rose. They would defeat Jerry Lawler and Bill Dundee for the AWA World Tag Team titles on October 30th, 1987. Then they would go on. They would wind up losing them to, I believe, the Midnight Rockers. Then early 88, I do believe. Late December 87, early 88, dates are a little fuzzy. They would come back to Jim Crockett Promotions. Yeah, it was kind of mid 88. I think, I want to say Ted Turner Dunn bought it at the time, but they were still wrestling in studios. Anyway, Bobby and Stan had just lost the tag team titles to the Road Warriors. Yes, they regained they won the NWA World Tag Team titles from Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson, so they became baby faces. So why not? Uh, let's see. Bobby was injured. Stan Lane was in a singles match. Then all of a sudden, Cornette's, of course, talking, and he gets a phone call. And so they hand him the phone. He's sitting there talking and say, "Oh, I guess you're real happy about us losing the tag team titles, you loudmouth, whatever." I can't remember everything he said, but well, maybe we maybe we should fight it out. Then he hung up the phone, and David Crockett, Tony Schiavone was like, "Well, who was that? Who was that? I don't know." Then all of a sudden, out from the back, here comes Paulie Dangerously, Randy Rose, and Dennis Condrey. They attack Jim Cornette, Stan Lane, and Bobby Eaton. Uh, Paulie Dangerously with that big, huge phone nailed Jim Cornette with it. But this was on WTBS Studios too at the time before they went to center stage, setting off that feud. But however, at this time, Dusty Rhodes was replaced by head booker by George Scott. George Scott had a problem with Condrey due to his previous overnight disappearance, and Scott had previous animosity with Rose. So Scott's appearance as top booker made for a catalyst to bury both teams and the feud. The feud was cooled off, and the loser league town match was going to be used to kick one of them out of the territory once and for all, and continue to bury the other. At the last minute, Dennis Condrey would leave again. He decided to leave the NWA again rather than take the pay-per-view payoff and give Crockett and Scott the satisfaction. So Jack Victory, who wrestled earlier that night as one of the Russian, I think Russian Assassin 2 or whatever, had pulled double duty. He was the new original Midnight Express, teaming with Randy Rose, but Randy Rose was a guy who wound up losing the match, but he would stick around as a enhancement talent the rest of the time, the rest of his stay in NWA, WCW. Gosh, my phone. Okay. So after that, he wound up going to the Continental Wrestling Federation. This was 1989 on July 22nd, 1989. Dennis Condrey defeated Tom Pritchard, become the Continental Wrestling Federation because they switched from calling the Southeastern or Continental Championship Wrestling to Continental Wrestling Federation. He won the heavyweight championship from Tom Pritchard, excuse me, from Tom Pritchard. Then wound up losing it back to him. And after that, he formed another tag team with Doug Gilbert and International Championship Wrestling ran by the Savoldis, Angelo Savoldi, Jumpy Joe Savoldi was there. Him and Doug Gilbert defeated Phil Apollo and Vic Steamboat, who was subbing for Apollo's partner Eric Sprayshire, who no-showed to win the ICW Tag Team Championship. They will hold those titles until 1990 when they both left the territory. And this is pretty much when Dennis Condrey pretty much retired. He pretty much retired. Got out of wrestling. I don't think he wrestled. Maybe a little bit in Continental, I do believe, but other than that, really nowhere else. But of course, later on, he would do independent shows, teaming up with either Randy Rose or Dennis or Bobby Eaton, or sometimes I think they would have matches with Bobby, Stan, and Dennis as the Midnight Express. I do remember there was a independent show at Appalachia High School up here in Barrow County, and it was Bullet Bob and Brad Armstrong going against Dennis Condrey and Randy Rose. I thought that, for what it was, pretty decent match. It was cool to see. Of course, one of my childhood favorites was, Brad Armstrong, but was a fan of the Midnight Express. But yes, it was the original Midnight Express with Randy Rose and Dennis Condrey. Like I said, Dennis passed away this past weekend, unfortunately. From what I hear, it was due to after suffering a fall and breaking his neck, paralyzing him from the chest down. But I guess the complications from that, uh, you know, did it in. But he was living in Huntsville, Alabama at the time. He was 76 years old. So rest in peace, Dennis Condrey. Condolences go to the family and friends of Dennis Condrey. So, with that being said, this is what we always do every Friday. I think this is about it, about empty. Yeah, that's going to be it. So, go ahead. Let me know what you're drinking. Open up a cold one. I don't have a cold one. Just having a shot here. Cheers to the hardworking men and women who did the grind all week and are doing the grind this weekend. Toast to Dennis Condrey. May he rest in peace. Ooh. All right.
Business may pick up here.
So, yep. That is some of the career highlights of Dennis Condrey. Now time for a little energy drink. That's the part about business about to pick up. Yeah, my first time I've seen the Midnight Express is, like I said, I started watching wrestling like tail end of '85, and I think they started wrestling there. I think the first time I seen him on TV, NWA Pro. I thought it was. I mean, it's kind of hard to boo him when they was kind of doing. I mean, even Bobby and Dennis, they did some pretty cool back at cool and back in that day. Um, no flips or anything. Of course, Bobby Eaton coming off top rope with knee drops and elbow drops and drop kicks and uh had a pretty cool little clothesline neck break. Bobby Eaton's elbow drop looked cool. What we're talking about. Um, and watch some highlights too. Do recommend watching highlights of Dennis Condrey. Dude had a hell of a clothesline himself. I don't think I would want to get hit by that clothesline. Um, of course, they had the rocket launcher. I think another one of their finishing maneuvers where Dennis was on the second rope. Bobby fed Dennis to the opponent. He came off the second rope with a power over the shoulder power slam. Looked pretty cool. But so yeah, they had all kinds of cool moves. Now Bobby and Stan Lane and Bobby Eaton, their moves looked a little bit cooler, but so it was kind of hard to not cheer them at the time, even though they had cool moves and stuff. So, I'm thinking, there we go. Well, that didn't help. Sorry, trying to. There we go. That's a little bit better. I had to try to fix the light a little bit so it won't blind me. But yes, this is a Wrestling Gold Friday night. I am live in Living Color in the chat. So if you're out there, hit me up in the chat. Any Dennis Condrey stories of your own memories, let me know. Or any memories you got of anything I talk about this evening, or just might pop up. Or just be friendly, say hello. That's always cool. If you're not joining me live in the chat, hey, hit me up in the comments because this will stay on Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube. So if you click on it, you're watching not so live. You're watching the recording or whatever. Uh, feel free to hit me up in the comments. I do my best to answer back as quickly as possible. If let's see, if I don't answer back quickly, I'm either working or sleeping. So, or I'm at an independent show where I get very little cell coverage, so I can't, get a notification that somebody commented on my videos or anything like that. So if I don't get to you really quickly, it's not being rude. This is either uh, sleeping, working, or no service. Yes, even in 2026, you can go in buildings and get very crappy, very little cell service. All right. Now, after the sad stuff, now I didn't know this about Dennis Conry. One more little tidbit. I did not know this. I didn't know he was actually one of the developmental trainers in 2010. Uh, Worked at before it was NXT, it was Florida Championship Wrestling. Worked with the rookies of the NXT roster. What am I stalling for? I came for the watching long. Okay. Well, I don't know. I'm kind of talking about Dennis Condrey right now. But and stalling in case anybody else wants to chime in. You rude motherfucker. I guess so. I ain't been stalling. I ain't been stalling that long, have I? I'm not really stalling. This talking about Dennis, dude. He had kind of a long career, and I had to go back and look up shit. Hell, I ain't even got into the Today in Wrestling History yet. Hell, I didn't click on the actual intro thing. Let's see here. All right, clock that out, and we're good. All right, let's go ahead and what time is it? All right. Oops. Scroll up here. Dang, sorry, dude. Well, if you pass out, you pass out. Maybe you pass out, and maybe one of my other videos will pop up, and it keep repeating. Anyway, let's go ahead and go in today in wrestling history. I'll try to go through that real quick. Ain't much. A couple big things, but rest of not that big. What's it called? I'll say it. That's what you need right there. Zyrtec. It's I don't know for whatever reason. Uh, it's not black. It's green, but yeah, it's Zyrtec. Good stuff. Take you one of those a day. It's trust me, it does work. That and especially at the early part of the year, I'm really not stalling. I'm just explaining. Uh, Especially early part of the pollen season. There's this nasal spray called Flonase. Use that once a day. Spray it in each nostril. Spray it in each nostril, and take one of those a day. It'll help with, like I said, trust me. I work outside. I have bad allergies, so and it works. The Flonase with a little bit of Zyrtec works great. So anyway, here we go here. On this day in 1972 at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee, Jackie Fargo and Jerry Jarrett defeated Kurt and Carl von Bronner for the Southern Tag Team Championship. On this day in 1980, Precious Paul Ellering, yes, that is Paul Ellering, the legendary manager of the Road Warriors. Yeah, he that dude's freaking jacked. He defeated Jimmy Valiant for the Southern Heavyweight Championship in Jackson, Tennessee. On this day in 1986, happy birthday, SoCal Val. She was born on this date in 1986. She's a woman, so we're not going to discuss her age. I actually thought she was pretty hot back in the day, or when she came out. She's younger than me. What am I talking about? And the big one, folks, on this date in 1988 in Atlantic City, New Jersey, at the Trump Plaza Hotel, drawing a crowd of 18,165, bringing in $1.4 million. Yes, it was WrestleMania 4. I think we already went to the whole thing where Hulk Hogan and Andre had a match on main event. Then we had the twin referees. One of them made a count, even though Hulk's shoulder was up. Then the other Hebner came in, and now on top of that, Andre had sold the WWF World Heavyweight Championship to Ted DiBiase. So they would later, Jack Tunney would hold up the world title, and that was WrestleMania 4, a tournament for the WWF World Heavyweight title, undisputed World Heavyweight title. I guess they want to key in the undisputed part because at the time I think Mike Tyson won the 3 boxing world titles, and he was the undisputed world champion. So they want to put their undisputed. I think that's how it worked at the time. Can't remember. Anyway, let's see. There was a battle royal to kick things off with, and won by Bad News Brown. Of course, he kind of suckered Bret Hart, saying, "Oh yeah, well, you're a bad guy, I'm a bad guy. Let's just shake hands and split the money." No, Bad News Brown nailed him with the Ghetto Blaster and eliminated Bret Hart. Of course, Bret Hart went on to become a babyface. Him and Jimmy Neidhart both became babyfaces, and then won another tag team title. Bret Hart, became Intercontinental, then World Champion, and all that good stuff. And a grumpy old son of a gun. But other people in that match was Ron Bass, Brian Blair, Jim Brunzell, Danny Davis, the referee, not Nightmare Danny Davis, Bret Hart, of course, Hillbilly Jim, Sam Houston, Junkyard Dog, Jim Neidhart, Ken Patera, Jim Powers, Holly Race, Paul Roma, Jacques Rougeau, Raymond Rougeau, Sika, George Steele, Nikolai Volkov, and Boris Zukov. Of course, after that, we had some tournament matches here. Let's see. Ted DiBiase would go on to defeat Jim Duggan with the help of Andre the Giant. Don Morocco defeated Dino Bravo by disqualification. Randy Savage defeated the Natural Bruce Reed. Greg Valentine defeated Ricky Steamboat. One Man Gang defeated Bam Bam Bigelow by countout. Rick Rude battled Jake Roberts to a draw, eliminated both competitors, and the Ultimate Warrior defeated Hercules. Hulk and Andre would eliminate each other too, having a double disqualification. Second round, we had Ted DiBiase defeat Don Morocco. Randy Savage defeated Greg Valentine. In a non-tournament match, Bruce Beefcake defeated WWF Intercontinental Champion Honky Tonk Man by disqualification. Bobby Heenan, Haku, and Tama, the Islanders, defeated the British Bulldogs, Dynamite Kid, and David Boy Smith with Coco Beware. Randy Savage defeated One Man Game by disqualification. In a match for the WWF World Tag Team titles, Demolition defeated Strike Force. And in the finals of the WWF World Heavyweight Title Tournament, it was Randy Savage defeating Ted DiBiase to win the championship. A little help from Hulk Hogan, of course. Excuse me. Of course, he got to hoist Elizabeth on his shoulders. Everybody celebrate. Everybody happy. Solidifying Randy Savage as not only the top guy, the top babyface in the company, because Hulk Hogan, I think, was going to film No Holds Barred at the time, so and take a little time off. Take a little time off to film No Holds Barred. I think it all worked together. Also on this date in 1988, not to be outdone, to kind of do a little competition here, the NWA presented Clash of the Champions 1 in Greensboro, North Carolina, Greensboro Coliseum, drawing 6,000 people, shown live on TBS. NWA World TV Champion Mike Rotundo pinned Jimmy Garvin in an amateur match. Basically, it was a one count match, like they do in amateur wrestling, one count. NWA United States Tag Team Champions Midnight Express Bobby Eaton and Stan Lane defeated the Fantastics by disqualification. The Road Warriors and Dusty Rhodes defeated the Powers of Pain, Warlord and Barbarian, with Ivan Koloff in a barbed wire match. If I remember correctly, yeah, there was no blood in this match. If I remember correctly, if there was, it was very little. Again, it was shown on TBS. Lex Luger and Barry Windham defeated Four Horsemen members Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard to win the NWA World Tag Team titles. Not too much long later, when they had a rematch, Barry Windham turned against Lex Luger to join the Four Horsemen, thus letting Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard regain those tag team titles. And in the main event, in what many called Sting's coming out party, or the match that made Sting, or the match where Ric Flair made Sting a star. Yes, it was NWA World Champion Ric Flair went to a time limit draw with Sting. They did have judges. Gary Juster, Sandy Scott, and Patty Mullins served as judges for that match in case of a draw, but they still considered it a draw. But I believe a 45-minute draw, not the full hour, but yeah, it solidifies Sting's placement as a player, one of the top stars of the company. Of course, in '91, I do believe he did finally defeat Ric Flair for that NWA World Heavyweight Championship. And one more thing in 1988. I want to say this is probably the last championship he won, but Bruiser Brody defeated Jumbo Tsuruta to win the NWA International title. This took place at All Japan Pro Wrestling in Tokyo, Japan, at Budokan Hall, drawing 11,500 people. On this date in 1989, big significance here, at the Mid-South Coliseum in Memphis, Tennessee, Lord Humongous, who was portrayed by Sid Vicious, defeated the Master of Pain, and of course, Master of Pain there, that young red-headed guy right there, the one not in the hockey mask. That was Mark Calloway, a.k.a. The Undertaker. Two big old SOBs. And let's see. And last but not least, a little behind the news, or behind the Backstage news here. Jim Cornette on this date in 1990. Jim Cornette quits NWA WCW booking committee after a dispute with Jim Herd about the future of the Midnight Express, Bobby Eaton, Stan Lane, and himself. And I think shortly after this, he wound up quitting. Him and Stan Lane both wound up quitting. Bobby didn't, because family, kids, guaranteed money. Why would he quit? But Stan Lane and Jim Cornette went on to form Smoky Mountain Wrestling. And that concludes Today in Wrestling History. Did I do that fast enough? Yeah, that was pretty fast. Anyway, let's take a quick commercial break. And I'll put the link in the chat. For the watch along. Like I said, let me take a quick commercial break so I can get a little bit set up, and you folks get set up whenever you're ready. Let me know in the chat. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Ronald Ray here, your boy with a cornbread accent. If you made it this far in the video, you're having fun. You folks know what to do. Everybody says this, so let's go through the whole routine. If you enjoy it, click on that like button. Also, leave me a comment. Give me your opinions on anything I talk about tonight. Ask questions, or just drop a friendly hello. That's always cool as well. Also, if you enjoy listening to a fan, just like you folks at home, talk about the sport of professional wrestling, be a champ, click on that subscribe button. Now, back to our program. Holy shit, I didn't realize this is kind of a long one, but these things usually go pretty fast. So anyway, whenever we're ready, I'm going to count it down, and there we go. And 5. Oh, wait a minute, let me switch here. Here we go. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press play now. So, yep, at this time, he is only a 3-time world champion. Yes, Rick Martel was the world champion at the time here. So the 3 world champions at this time was Rick Martel for the AWA, Ric Flair for the NWA, and of course Hulk Hogan for the WWF. So I'm not sure yet. I think Nick Bockwinkel is still a heel at this time. I'm not sure if he was a full-fledged babyface yet. Hey, it's the Beach Boys. Yes, in 1985, those guys were old at that time. And I think Mike Love is Mike Love still alive? Everybody loves the Beach Boys. Charles Manson's favorite band. Mike Love for the from the Beach Boys. The lead singer for the Beach Boys, Mike Love. Yeah, he's still alive. He is 85 years old. I mean, he is a cousin of Brian and Dennis Wilson. Of course, he is the drummer of the Beach Boys until his unfortunate uh, passing in 1983. Has a strange history with Charles Manson. Would actually hang out with him and his family a little bit. Yes, Brian Wilson was like the songwriter, singer, songwriter. Is that Gary Juster? Or excuse me, Gary Michael Caperta? Oh, Mike Moore. Kurt Hennig, easily the one of the greatest of all times. Scott Hall was a big bastard too. So Kurt Hennig's debut was in 1980, so he's probably about 5 years in the business right now, or full time wrestler. But he is a second generation wrestler. His dad was Larry the Axe Hennig. Had a hell of a tag team with Holly Race, multi time AWA World Tag Team Champions. Actually, three times for Holly Race, and well, Midwest Tag Team Champions with. And of course, as you can't, obviously can tell, Hannah's a babyface at this time, but that would actually change, I think, around 87. Yes, 87 when he may or may not use a handful of coins to defeat Nick Botwinkle. They say he didn't. And big old Mike Moore. Mike Moore, of course, is a former cow tipping champion of the world. Uh, he went all over the country competing in competitive cow tipping, um, which consists of style, how quickly you tip the cow over, if you tip the cow over before it actually wakes up, or if you can really have the guts to tip a cow over as if it's still awake. But Mike Moore was a like I said, champion of that. Yes, this is before they won the AWA World Tag Team titles. I mean, even at this point, you can see how great Kurt Hennig was going to be. Ooh, that came close to the Webos there, ref. I mean, Kurt Hennig right here wasn't even in his prime yet, but he's still looked very crisp, very good, very comfortable in the ring. Oh yeah, that's I don't. Oh, he took a Bret Hart corner turnbuckle bump right there, chest first. Of course, this way for Bret Hart done it normally. And Mike Morris using those cow tipping strength to put on the bear hug on their Kurt Hennig. Yeah, I remember reading about that when it happened. I think I think it was actually on YouTube. Is it on YouTube or it was on the network at one time? Now I think at this time, Kurt Hennig was using the top rope or middle rope, sometimes top rope, sometimes middle rope drop kick for a finisher. will sometimes use the, cradle suplex. I think that's mainly when he turned heel. I think he used that a lot. Kurt ain't putting up with that shit. He's like, boy, you freaking chop me. I'm Kurt freaking Hennig. I am Mr. Perfect. So this might be, and yes, Kurt Hennig banged all three of those chicks this night, from what I heard. Enough for Scott Hall. Damn. Joe King. Also, one had Road Warriors versus Kurt Hennig and Baron Vodorowski. There was actually a brawl with the fans, with the Warriors on the way back through the crowd. And this was not in, was this, I guess, AWA, not in Japan? Hey, Footlocker. Hey, I had one of those, it was, I don't think it was one of the expensive ones like this one, but the calculator watches. AWA, and they let them fight with the crowd. Damn. Ah, another legend, Mongolian Stomper. And this is, I think, probably tail end of his career too. I think he wrestled probably till late '80s, maybe a little bit in early like '90 maybe. Archie Goldie. Ric Flair? He talking about Scott Hall or one fall? Okay, boys and girls, that's not Mark Calloway. But yeah, as you can tell, boys and girls, that's not Mark Calloway, the Undertaker we know. Hell, he's not even one of the Undertakers from International Championship Wrestling. Uh, I don't know. Mark being what 6'9", 6'8", something like that. I mean, his build height is 6'10", but yeah, Undertaker was pretty tall. Martel is what 6 feet, 6'1" maybe, and he's short. I mean, it could be Mark Calloway when he was like maybe 10. I mean, I guess that would make sense if that's Mark Calloway at age 8. They had to put a mask on him. Yeah, so that could be Mark Calloway at age 8 had to put a mask on him. That way, nobody could tell that that was a 8-year-old. A little chubby, but he could have been a chubby kid. That might, oh nice. I think I do see a little bit of red hair in that mask. So yeah, it's probably Mark Calloway, 8 years old before his growth spurt, or he was still growing at the time. I mean, not too many 8 year olds are what, probably about 5'10", 5'8". Yeah. Oh my goodness, he's like Red Martell's like 70 years old now. Yeah, 6 foot even. His at least his build height. But you got to remember, this is when Undertaker was only 8 years old, so you got to put that in account. Yeah, I kind of tell that. I don't know. I guess that's the way AWA did back then. Kind of give the preliminary guys a little too much. Uh oh. Now he's going old school. Oh no, never mind. He don't got the arm, but he is going to the top rope. Might walk the ropes, but nope, nope, nope. Martel catches him. So not today. Not today, brother. But yeah, for an 8 year old, the Undertaker here's you know, wrestling like a veteran here. All right, we get the sports update. Portland is beating Boston. See the Hawks. Yes, Hawks were playing Milwaukee, leading 16-13. I think this is was that Yeah, was Dominic Wilkins playing for the Hawks, or was he still in college in '85? Yeah, Fallout spells rake the eyes. A big elbow smash. Oh, Martell's going to fisticuffs. I don't know if he wants to do that with the Undertaker, even if he is 8 years old. There it is. I see it. One, two. Didn't do the swan dive. And that, I mean, this. All right, this is how you're supposed to hit a crossbody block too. Reverse, however you want to do it. Quickly hooks the leg. That's it. Don't know why everybody, flies off their opponents and stuff like that. Then sometimes might go for a cover or sit there and sell or cheer or whatever the hell they do. But nice little crisp crossbody block. Quickly hook the leg. Like that. And he did that. I mean, this is. I mean, you gotta understand. This is a 8 year old Undertaker. He's still growing. Yes, genuine diamond rings for 1995. I think not. What you looking at, dude? Damn, he looks like me when I'm reading my notes. Are you reading any notes on the screen, dude? Yeah, that's for Vince Man got to him. Uh oh. You know what? Yes, this is 1985. This is when Kentucky Fried Chicken was good. Nowadays, KFC is freaking nasty. Now they do chicken wrong. I miss when KFC used to taste good. Not the greatest talker in the world, that Rick Martel. Yeah. Yeah, Hanson, as soon as he got his hand on, because, Hanson, he couldn't see that well. I mean, Martel was a legit, amateur wrestler, not like a Olympic gold medalist or anything. Ah, the fabulous Freebirds, Michael Hayes, and I think it's just, but yeah, Terry, Terry must be in Japan or something like that. And they're coming out to the actual song Freebird by Leonard Skinner. Oh, Jim Londas. Now, I do recognize their names. So he was pretty much an enhancement talent. Oh, he was in the early days of uh he was, yeah, Larry wrestling in the early days of ECW and Tri-State Wrestling. Passed away in 2015. A former ECW tag team champion with Tony Stetson. Former tag team for Tri-State Wrestling, the precursor to ECW, with Johnny Hotbody, a United States Wrestling Federation champion, and a National Wrestling Federation champion. Oh, Buddy Jack. You know, some wrestlers have adrenaline and blood rushing through their veins. Not Buddy Jack. Buddy Jack had Jack Daniels running through his veins. Now, Jim, I don't think that's the same Jim Lin. Lon, Okay, obviously not. But yeah, I would imagine Terry must be in, let's see, 85 here. He might still doing some dates in Texas or or either in Japan. Yeah, I think Rick Martel is he's turned down the Hall of Fame. Not sure why. I could be just one of those situations where he's like, okay. But I don't know. He might start warming up to it because I think he has done some appearances in conventions and stuff. Oh, you can't hurt Buddy. Like I said, Buddy Roberts got Jack Daniels running through his veins, so you can't hurt him. Uh, yeah, the Freebirds AWA figures were pretty cool. The AWA figures were like the best. The Remco AWA figures. Oh, that lethal left hand. And see, people just really don't give Freebirds credit for what they started. I mean, yeah, I mean they're stable before the word stable was a popular thing. They had their own hand gesture, their own personalized music. Yes, they did come out to Bad Street or Freebird in this program, but they had their own original music with the song Bad Street USA. Still say that's probably the best uh, personalized interest music that wasn't like produced by Jim Johnston or some stock music or anything like that, or like the WWE and AEW has now. Oh, and there's the Beach Boys again. Yes, that is an album. That is a cassette, and that big thing over there was a 8 track. Ba 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 ra, But yeah, Brian Wilson of the Beach Boys was kind of a head case. He wrote great songs for the Beach Boys, but uh, didn't really tour with them too much. He didn't like flying or he didn't like being on stage or anything like that. This must have been in Florida. Well, okay, okay, my bad. This says ESPN, so and I don't think we had cable at this time. So, and yes, did you see the shirt he was wearing? That's the reason I call referees Foot Locker sometimes. See, that's when you know you got Jack Daniels run through your veins, folks. When you want to call out the Road Warriors. See, Michael Hayes can talk because he know he just throw his buddy Terry Gordy in there to. Yeah, you definitely talk big when you got somebody like Terry Gordy as your best friend, tag team partner. And yes, probably back then people might care for, have a lot of invested in BYU and maybe Hawaii, but nowadays, nope. It's maybe Ohio State, Michigan, Georgia, Alabama. Nice, some good cards. Terry Taylor versus Buddy Landell. I heard a story about Buddy Landell. Um, Supposedly another way he would make money. Yeah, yeah, just slightly. But apparently, Barry Landell was one of these people who would probably had the worst of luck going into like grocery stores. He would always sometimes slip and fall, and instead of it going to court or anything, they'd go ahead and just pay him like $10,000. Until one day, he slipped and fell into a store, and it's like, oh, that sounds pretty bad. Let's look on the camera and see what happened. And yeah, that was the end of that scam. Oh, Larry Bisco. Yeah, you're probably slightly ahead. I think I actually pressed a button, but not too far ahead. The Long Riders. Scott Hogg Irwin and Wild Bill. That's a big old doobie getting up for a drop kick. And yes, Scott Irwin, I think he's got the given credit for inventing the superplex. Bill Irwin was. I actually watched Bill Irwin's interview recently. Wasn't too bad. I don't think I had theirs. Yeah, I I never did get the Long Riders ones. I think I instead of getting theirs, I think they had them displayed, and it's like I could one of those I could get one more set. That I always dug that move for some reason. Yes, before Sheamus, there was Wild Bill Irwin with the butterfly kick. But yeah, legitimately, yes, Bill Irwin did play hockey, but yeah, I wound up getting the Stan Hansen Crusher Blackwell figure instead of Stan Hansen Jerry Blackwell figures instead of the Long Riders. Yep, he told Vince, and it's like, okay, you're gonna be a goon. Yeah, I never got the Hogan one either. Oh, I just had noticed that they got figures in the they got the AWA ring and figures on that coffee table. I just that just caught my eye. I mean, I am watching this on my phone, so $50,000 battle royal. I don't think Austin Idol was invited to participate in that battle royal, nor if he was invited, was not going to be booked to win that thing. Oh, Charles Schwab. Schwab. Okay, that's Donna. Larry Sabisco married Kathy Gagne, right? Yes, Abdullah Butcher and College Cologne. And she said her name was Donna, so I don't know if. The bad guys. Is that the one that had Jerry Blacko wasn't 6 foot, dude. Yeah, I think it had Christopher McDonald in it. Okay, I went that one because it's not listed here. No shit. I thought Little Tokyo was from Huntsville, Alabama. And yes, back in the back in the day, right here, midget matches was pretty entertaining. And just think if these 4 men were wrestling right now, they'll probably be main eventing AEW Dynamite. Sorry, I had to say it. Yep, Joe beat me to it. I just glanced over. Entertaining, yes. Guess that's why AEW filled the roster with them. And Little Brook, he would manage Rip Morgan and Jacko Victory in WCW, the Royal Family, or they were the New Zealand Militia. Then they became the Royal Family in WCW. Poor ref. No, you don't. That's a move require that doesn't require a dive. So if you're not diving, and don't get this shirt messed up, I gotta go to my second job at Foot Locker later. You see me advertised. So yes, I just found the eh, let's see here. The Bad Guys movie that I was just talking about. I just found it on YouTube. There's a link to it. I might actually watch this tonight. Let's see. So yeah, two hotshot LAPD cops getting hot water after breaking up a fight in a local bar. And yes, it does have Christopher McDonald. That's the one I was. Or no, excuse me, it don't. It has Adam Baldwin, Mike Jolly, and Michelle Nicastro. But yeah, two hotshot LAPD cops getting hot water after breaking up a fight. They get suspended from the force and had to find a way to pay rent. First, they tried construction, stripping, but newspaper reporter Janice Edwards has a really good idea: professional wrestling. Oh God, I'm sorry, Greg Gagne with the camouflage cut off shirt and headband looks like a goof. Now, Greg Gagne was decent in the ring, I thought, and you know, he would get AWA World Title shots, but Vern didn't push him as never did put the belt on him. See, this referee, he don't work at Foot Locker. He has a different shirt. He works at Payless shoe stores. That's a Payless. He's wearing the Payless shoe store attire there because that's where he has to go after the match, after the show. Oh, Spud head, Larry Zabisco. Oh, Dick Worley. Yeah, I think I'll be changing my fucking name. They call me Dick Worley. Yeah, if I thank goodness my parents didn't name me Dick. I mean, he did have a push as a tag team wrestler, being one member of the High Flyers with Jim Brunzell. He's using the trunks, ref. He's using the trunks, Payless. Do they still have Payless shoe stores? Yeah, they have neither one of those either. The Greg and Kurt with the camouflage. As far as what was it, Sarge's Raiders or something like that? Soldiers. Yeah, that was a smart move. See, notice, no dive, no anything. Because even, even today, the heels and babyface, they all dive. He's just going out there, getting a little heat, taking it, doing some knee strikes right there to keep Gray from getting back in the ring. Well, this is the Tropicana Hotel and Casino in Atlantic City, in New Jersey. Or, yeah, the Tropicana Resort in Atlantic City, New Jersey. Nah, me neither, but, oh, just bury those nunchucks in the belly welly of. So I guess this is where Nick Bockwinkel officially turns babyface. But yeah, Greg was just. I mean, he was okay in the ring, but he was just blah personality wise. I mean, you know, like Greg wasn't like as bad as say David Flair. David Flair was like awful. I never to see George Gula, so I can't really judge on that. But I seen David Flair, and David Flair was god awful as far as in ring work. I mean, Greg. I mean, the in ring work was decent. If he had like a gym membership and could actually talk, who knows? Mike Graham was kind of like that too. It's like good in the ring, but just didn't care for him. But give Vern Gagne credit and Eddie Graham credit. It wasn't like they. Well, I mean, AWA, they had their own World Heavyweight Championship, so Vern didn't put the World Heavyweight title on Greg Gagne. He put the World Tag Team title, but he had Jim Brunzell, and Jim Brunzell was pretty good. Bland, but Jim Brunzell was pretty good. And they did put the AWA International Television title. He's probably only one of two people that have it, and that was in the dying, almost dying days of the AWA. Um, And I think my grandpa had a Florida title a couple times, but it was just the original title. It wasn't like if I remember correctly. Basically, Mike Graham wasn't the total focal point of Florida or championship wrestling, the Florida territory. I mean, he was an AWA. Mike Graham actually was an AWA World Light Heavyweight Champion. So yeah, he was like a one-time Florida Heavyweight Champion, Florida Tag Team Champion with numerous partners, numerous times, 16 times. Uh, Florida Television Champion for 2 occasions. And he was actually the United States Junior Heavyweight Champion as well. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't like Mike or Greg was like the focal point. They were kind of in the mix, but they weren't like the main attraction of the companies. I mean, Kurt Hennig right there, he was actually a former AWA World Champion, and he was way better. Yeah, Jim Brunzell, jumping Jim Brunzell, a member of the Killer Bees with B. Brian Blair. They were actually a decent little tag team too. Diamonds. I mean, yeah, the WWF had yeah, the WWF had a assload of great tag teams. Hearts, Bulldogs, Killer Bees, Brainbusters, Tully Blanchard, Arn Anderson. Uh, hell, even the UX Express, Barry Windham, Mike Rotundo, Iron Sheik, and Nikolai Volkov were pretty good. And of course, the Midnight Rockers, Demolition. Um, I think that's going to give. First, it was Can Am Connection, Tom Zink and Rip Martel. Then Tom Zink left. Strike Force. Strike Force was pretty decent. Oh yeah, the Rougeau brothers. Just about everybody except for, can you guess? Everybody except for the Nasty Boys. Just my opinion. Could care less about the. I would if it was me, I would push the Conquistadors before I would push the Nasty Boys. Yes, the Conquistadors were a better tag team than the Nasty Boys. Um, but yeah, was never a fan of the Nasty Boys. Yeah, I mean they went to WWF, won the World Tag Team title, but I think they were just transition champions. I don't know. I don't know why they didn't just give them back to Demolition and then have Demolition just have a straight tag team feud with the Road Warriors, Legion of Doom when they came in. But they had like 6-man matches with uh at the time 3 members of Demolition, Crush, X and Smash. Yeah, they came to WCW, won the titles. I think Memphis they won the tag belts there. South Atlantic Pro they won the titles there. When Dusty restarted the Florida territory with Professional Wrestling Federation, um, PWF, he made them his tag team champions, if you will, baby. Where else? Yeah, just about everywhere they went. It was like, why are these people fucking even my young self was like, these guys are fucking horrible. Yeah, you can tell why I really don't care for some people. I'm just talking about the wrestling. I mean, I'm pretty sure Knobs, Sags, cool guys and all that, but and I think Knobs is in bad health right now, but that doesn't distract the fact. The only time, the only time I sort of liked him is when they came back to WCW and had Missy Hyatt with them. Now, I will say their best match, by far the best match Nasty Boys ever had. I forgot which one it was, but the Halloween Havoc match between them and the Steiners, best match they ever had. That I will say that match kicked ass at the time. I haven't watched it in forever, but at the time, that match kicked ass. Then Jerry Sags had to retire or something like that. Yeah, Brian Knobbs even won the hardcore title of WCW. Nah, the Steiners. I mean, the Cactus Sullivan match with the Nasties is just. I mean, it's something we didn't see a lot of at the time, but uh, just basically a hardcore match. But yeah, I mean, put it to you this way, I I uh I push away my little hatred for, or not my dislikeness of the Nasty Boys. I can overlook my like I can overlook my dislike of the Nasty Boys for the Steiner Brothers match. I could not overlook my dislikeness of the Nasty Boys during their matches with Cactus and Sullivan or Cactus and Max Payne. I liked Harlem Heat. Heck, I mean, I liked them when they were just an Ebony Experience and Global. So I thought it was cool shit when they came to WCW, except for the whole name change. Was it? Um, I mean, they didn't come in as. Let's see. Yeah, when they came in as Cole and Kane. I didn't know that. But anyway, yeah, yeah, I didn't like the. I mean, I didn't really like the name change from Everyday Experience to Harlem Heat, or from Booker T to Cole, Stevie Ray to Kane, but they wound up changing it back to Booker T and Stevie Ray. And for a long time, I didn't know they were brothers. I think it was. I think it was that Heat Wave or New Wave magazine. Then I figured out they were brothers. Yeah, yeah, definitely better than GI Bro. But I think that was the name he started out with when he like first started wrestling. Then they turned him back to GI Bro for that Misfits of Action, which I'm glad they didn't keep him in that little deal too long. WCW just did stupid shit. But yeah, that was sometimes breaking in. You just gotta be saddled with a gimmick and a name you probably don't like because you really don't have a leg to stand on when you first begin. You just gotta try to make it work. Gotta make it work, brother. Uh, Good gosh, it's already almost 10:30. Maybe I need. Let's see. What else can we tune in next week for? I figure I figure it out. Sometimes I like to tie it into what is being said on the what happened that day. Kind of coordinate, but I kind of feel like what, we don't give AWA enough love. Not enough love for the AWA when they had good stuff. I mean, the only thing I didn't like about this show, they seemed like at least the first two matches, they gave the enhancement guys a little too much. But so I can understand, but other than that, it was cool to see, Rick Martel, the young Kurt Hennig. I mean, like I said, you seen how good Kurt Hennig was in that match, and he wasn't even in his prime yet. Didn't see Scott Hall. Scott Hall was, I mean, we've seen Scott Hall, but he didn't wrestle in this one. Yeah, that was a little too much for the champ. And the champ not even able to use his finisher. Well, I guess that was one of his finishers at the time. I can't remember. I know he did a swan dive, the little catapult from the, and sometimes did it from the top rope too, but the catapult from the apron to the ring. Which again, at that time, that was a pretty freaking cool move. And yes, I mean, I kind of stumbled into that one. I Yeah. Um. And yeah, like I was saying, kind of fell into that the angle where it officially made Nick Bockwinkel a babyface, or basically the start of him officially becoming a babyface for his last, I guess, two years, because he wound up retiring shortly after um the Kurt Hennig match where uh Kurt Hennig defeated him for the AWA World Title. So it wasn't like, I don't know. Somebody else kind of explained. It wasn't like he didn't take chances with younger talent, trying to push younger talent, like, a Rick Martel. I mean, the only thing about Rick Martel, you can see in his promo there, not a very good promo guy. Um, then Kurt Hennig, but I don't know. I think he probably should have brought in a fresher set of eyes on everything to kind of book it. Yes, he did, and apparently he's a pretty good golfer too. But he is a living legend. God, he's getting up there in age too. Whoops. Yeah, he's 74. Yes, he's married to Kathleen Gagne. But anyways, but yeah, I think I'm gonna wrap this episode of Wrestling Gold Friday Night up here. Appreciate everybody tuning in. Appreciate everybody's, hopefully hit the chat or hit the comments. Appreciate everybody in the chat tonight. Uh, Everybody who watched this live, appreciate you folks. Um, like I said, be back here next week, of course, 8 o'clock. or nearabouts, maybe a minute or two later. Hey, if I got the countdown on and everything else, that means I'm on time. Right? Right. But anyway, like I said, gonna call it a night. Time to have some dinner and all that good stuff. So you folks have a good one. Take it easy. And until next time.
So long from the peach state of Georgia.
Ronald Ray here saying thank you for checking out my video. If you don't mind, go ahead and click that thumbs up button, leave a comment, and share this video with family and friends. I would also appreciate it if you would subscribe to RP2 Vision, where I cover the sport of professional wrestling from yesterday to today. Now don't forget to click the notification bell as well, so you'll be notified when my other weekly content is available, like Wrestling Trivia Tuesday, WWE Raw Recap, and AEW Dynamite Recap. I also have 2 live streams. Every Thursday at 8 p.m., it's Spot Show Live Stream, where I discuss the latest news in professional wrestling. And on Friday nights at 8 o'clock p.m., it's Wrestling Gold Friday Night, where I discuss the good old days of professional wrestling. When wrestling was wrestling, wrestling was real because it's still real to us. Folks, have a good one and take it easy.